back from my cruise. It's week 2 of skirmish season, and I can just keep using this background. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter if it's CC. It doesn't matter if it's blitz, because heck, she just does it again and again. Look at that. Aurora sitting at the top of the heap in both formats. Is Aurora too good? Probably not. She's actually probably pretty solid across the board. I think she's approachable enough, though she did just win this past weekend in Brazil, which was pretty awesome to watch. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I totally spoiled that. Also, hey, while I was gone on my cruise, did I miss anything of note? Did anything happen while I was gone in the middle of the Caribbean? Was anything spoiled of any sort? I'll have to look into it. Maybe I'll look into it tomorrow. But have you seen these numbers? Aurora gaining ground heavily in the blitz format. If you didn't notice, skirmish season 11, week number 1, Aurora sits at 15 wins. Right behind her deck I told you was S tier. I think I actually told you both of these decks were S tier. Verdance right behind her with 14, KO with 13, and Blaze with 10. I'm pretty sure hold on, I need to check this actually. Okay, look, I pulled it up, and this was my prediction. I said Arachne was the best deck in format. Okay, maybe that was a little ambitious. I said Terra was also one of the best decks in the format. I still stand by that. Just depends on your local meta. Then I said Verdance, Aurora, Data Doll, and Blaze. Okay, how many of those did I get right over the past 2 weeks? Week 1, Aurora, Verdance, Blaze, Data Doll's down there at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we got a couple. Okay, we got a couple right. I think we got those first, like the top, maybe 3 out of 5. We'll say 3 out of 5. Week number 2, which we'll talk about here, Data Doll fell off a bit, but you know what? Everything else pretty solid. And I did have KO in the old A tier, didn't I? Yeah, KO is in the bottom of the A tier, along with Dromai as well. I think those two heroes, along with Levia and a couple of other heroes, those are heroes that can consistently top 8 your skirmish season. But let's dive more into week 1 and week 2 data. We'll do both. So continuing down the thing, Dromai, Levia, Data Doll, all up there. Syndra, I think, is great in a format that doesn't have a bunch of disruption, but she does have a lot of equipment blocks. And it is a format that can provide some amount of disruption, but really Blitz is more about just hair on fire offense. I'm going to try and beat you in the first few turns. And so she does have some space there to work. Dash Database as well with some space. Terra down and 4, and Arachne Solitary Confinement. That was the biggest surprise for me, Arachne being so low. And continuing on to week 2, Aurora with 33 wins. To me, this seems high. Like, this is a lot of events that fired. But then again, maybe that's it. I thought for a second that it was cumulative. Of course, with week 1 being 15, week 2 here would be like 18 wins. Therefore, it's 33. But I don't think that's the case. I think this is legitimately 33. We'll look at the point totals next. Either way, the pole position is dedicated to Aurora, and she's quite good. She got even better with the Armory deck cards. As you can see, everyone's playing the Armory deck cards in CC as well, and so she is really in prime position to say, I'm the fastest deck. That also makes you have to play me on 2 axes. You have to stop arcane damage, you have to stop physical damage, and I'm just going to do it faster than what you can do. Verdance right behind her, though, not doing too far off from her. I continue to say, if you are going to be playing into a very open meta, Verdance is the answer. Verdance is by far the answer if you're looking to play something that isn't Aurora in this case. And Blaze, I think, is a good second answer if you are playing into a very heavy aggro meta. I think Verdance can struggle into an extreme aggro meta and can struggle into an extreme fatigue meta. But if there's any wiggle room in between, anything whatsoever, that's where Verdance shines, and that's why she's sitting number 2. Blaze not right behind her. There's a big drop off with Blaze at 10, picking up 10 wins, and then KO at 9, Dromai at 9 as well. But Blaze in 3rd place right behind her, blazing her way to the top and getting closer and closer to the Living Legend status, which is kind of crazy. Heroes that you aren't going to see people talk about, but you should. Dromai, in my opinion, is the number 1 hero. I called it at the beginning. She's the number 1 dark horse. Look, I'll prove it. See here, she right there sitting right, I can't point, you can't see it, but sitting right there in the A tier, the number 1 dark horse in my opinion, for this entire meta. I think the top decks were fairly fleshed out, and everyone can kind of see those. I do want to point out that, here we both have Prism and Prism Advent of Thrones, both, gobbling up some points. Terra gobbled up an extra point here. Zan got an extra point as well. Florian makes a charge out of nowhere, which surprised me, but tied with Florian is Arachne Solitary Confinement, making some strides. I really do think it's like, deck's insane. That deck is so crazy. It's bonkers, and it plays at attack reaction speed, which is great against most of the decks of the format. Like, deck's really good. It should be doing a lot better than I think it's being given credit for. But look at these living legend numbers. Okay, so Dorinthia not moving at all. Bravo moved a little bit, actually. Blaze with 80 points is now up to 720 total living legend points. She's 280, I'll be more specific, 280 points away from the living legend status. Is she going to reach that in 1 week? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If the best deck in the format is not but 192 on 2 weeks, there's no way Blaze goes. And in fact, I would argue there's probably no way Blaze goes in the next time we have Skirmish season. So if you're interested in picking up Blaze, you could do it. You could definitely do it. You could probably play her for another year, and you'd be nice and secure in doing so, which is kind of exciting. That's kind of fun because I love Blaze. I mean, I built a guide. I still have the deck sitting on my desk. I mean, it's my favorite deck in the game currently because Pirates haven't been released yet. So with that being said, if you want to build her, you definitely can, and it looks like she's going to be around for a while longer. Zan creeping up closer, but not gaining nearly as many points as he would need to get anywhere near Elling, and I thought he would, but he does take a step back in favor of the biggest point getter this season, and that is most definitely Aurora. Aurora up to 307 points. She's going to be around a while longer. Here's the cool thing about Blitz. Look, I know there's people that don't like Blitz. I know there's people that think it's super swingy, and in some cases they're right. In other cases, I would argue that it's like a perk to the format, okay? It's one of those things you look at and you go, okay, in this format, I still have to make the tough decisions. I still have to think a few turns ahead, a turn cycle ahead, if you will, about how this is going to play out. But it's very much more a razor's edge. I am punished immediately by making the wrong decision. And it's not that I'm going to see that wrong decision come to fruition over 5 turns. I'm just gonna die. I'm just gonna die. And if I built my deck wrong, I'm definitely gonna die. So I do want to say that there is some uniqueness to the format that I think some people, when they look at, they don't necessarily notice until you really, really play it. There's a lot of uniqueness to the Blitz format that people probably don't give it enough credit for. And all that to say, Aurora is going to be around for a long time in the format. Even though she's the best deck for now, she's the best deck in the format, she's going to be around for a while. And the benefit there being the format doesn't rotate as quickly as you would think because they don't put out very many events, living legend points and things like that to rotate the format. Skirmish season is the only one that they do it for. They don't really fire off consistent battle hardens for Blitz, right? Because they're pushing CC, and so be it. That's what people want to play most of all, and that's what they want. That's the premier format of the game, is a tentpole, right? So that means that even though this is the best deck in the format, you can jump on it and you can play it, and it gives you space to play that for the long term. Same thing with Blaze, and of course, another one, same thing with Verdance, who has really shown up and shown out this time around. It was becoming the best or one of the best decks in the format at the end of like the previous season, and it has just staked its claim, as you can see for the past 2 weeks, as one of the best decks in the format, and it answers a lot of things. And the craziest part about Verdance is that you can build it like 3 different ways. This deck can be built 2 very clearly defined ways and 1 kind of memey way that people aren't doing yet, but definitely works. So that's the crazy thing about Verdance, and I made a video on it last week, and I have multiple people on that and in the Purple Discord saying thank you for making that video, or thank you for posting your list because I used it to win a skirmish. And that's awesome because something that I made helped someone get an expensive shiny card. And that's what we're all about, baby. That's why you press the button to make the number go to the other number, because we get results in Blitz. That's the way you do it. Okay, other decks that are trending upward. KO has way more points than I expected, but Blitz is always a breeding ground for good Brute decks. Brute is far better in Blitz than in Classic Constructed, and it always has been. And that is another secret perk of this format, is that at lower life totals, other decks can shine. Yes, there are always going to be those like transcendental decks that are just better, like Zen previous to this and Aurora right now, that are just like, I wouldn't say miles above, but are clearly strong no matter where they are, no matter what format they're in. That's the best way to put it. But certain classes, certain decks, certain heroes, certain archetypes shine in this format versus in Classic Constructed. Like right now, you would not do, like top 8 calling level or top 8 Pro Tour level finishes with KO in the current CC format. That would be very difficult. You'd have to get a little lucky and play your just mind out, right? The same thing cannot be said here, where KO can do great things, very strong things, because of the way the format is situated. And because of the lower life totals, other heroes get a chance to shine. That's pretty awesome, right? I like that personally. And alongside of him in the Brute life is Levia, doing quite well for herself as well. I think one of the other big heroes, I mentioned it earlier, Dromai. This is the only format you can play her in. Well, that's not true. I shouldn't even say that. You can't play her in CC, let's be honest. You could play her in like all the other formats, but you can't play her in CC. Her being available, and not just available, but good in Blitz, I think is a huge benefit for the game, because there are people that want to play dragons. And this is where you can do it, baby. This is it. You can't do it in commoner because they're stinking rares. Who thought that was a good... Well, I guess LSS did. They put it in the rare slot. Either way, Dromai, very good in this format, and gobbling up a large amount of points right there. There's other decks that we could talk about, but those to me are the ones that really stick out. Like, we could sit here and talk about Dash Database, but I don't want to. I don't want to, because the decks that I am excited are doing well are Verdance and Dromai and Aurora and Blaze and surprisingly KO. Like, these are the decks that if you're going into the final week of skirmish season, these are the decks you should look at. Those ones right there, baby. So if you enjoy me rambling on and you want to hear me talk about pirates, because we're going to be doing that, we're going to be talking about pirates tomorrow, make the number go to the other number. As always, thanks for watching.